Hey there, welcome back to ARTFX Studios. Today I want to talk about a plugin that I use a lot to make my drums and my masters sound as loud as possible. Now, this plugin is a cool little plugin by Kazrog LLC. It's called KClip, and it's basically a clipping plugin that will let you clip the output and make things quite loud without exceeding a certain level. It's only $20. It's currently on sale. If you fill in this code, you get 50% off, so that's quite cool. It's really cheap, and I can just tell you that this is really helping me a lot to make my drums sound loud. So let's go into Ableton and let's see if I can show you this real quick. I've got a drum bus right here, which is peaking at -10 dB, as you can see down there. That's -10 dB, by the way, because this particular one is set to -10. So this track, the output of this track, is peaking at peaking at 0 dB, sorry, and then the mixer is actually bringing it down again to -10. So if I'm gonna increase this volume, we're gonna go above that 0 dB, and thus we will get a little bit louder than the -10 right here. I've brought this track down 3.3 dB to make it exactly -10 here, so it's exactly 0 dB when it's going into the KClip. Now I'm gonna bring the KClip up, or I have to go to here first. I've got an operator down here with just a sine wave, and I've got this little graph that'll show you how the sine wave looks. Now that's just your basic sine wave, how it looks, right? That's okay. What happens if we start using the clipping plugin? Kazrog will basically apply either hard clipping or soft clipping to the signal. So we have our sine wave, and currently it's not doing any clipping because it's 0 dB and it's not going above that threshold. But if I start boosting this input gain, you can, and when you really start paying attention to these top parts of the peaks, you can really start to see what that actually does. So you can see we're now getting sort of like a square shape, and that's because this is now applying hard clipping. So we're getting distortion, but we're getting louder as well, and that's quite cool because the actual loudness is still 0 dB. Because if you just look at this, I mean, the level is just not going above that, it's just chopped off. Now if I bring this soften up, we're gonna get the same effect but with rounded edges. So that's actually more of a softer clipped function, and we can blend in between these, so that's really cool. I can set it to 50% and kinda like get the best of both worlds. So that's how this plugin works. It just applies clipping to the signal to get that particular sound. Now let's see what that does on a drum group. Now we have the drum group, which is peaking at -10 dB or at 0 dB right here at the track level itself. I'm gonna open up KClip and I'm gonna turn it on. So if I play this right now, you can hear that the drums are kind of a little bit lost in the mixdown. So we're gonna try to fix that. Now the first thing you'll see in Kazrog, you have the input gain. Now I've set this to -3.3 right here. If I would set this to -3.3 and turn the utility off, I have the exact same result. However, I'm not going to do it in the Kazrog plugin because I want to show you the difference between having it at just 0 dB without the clipping and having it at 0 dB with the clipping. So you could just do that right here. Now we have this, it's not applying any clipping because it's not boosting the volume any higher than what it already is. And if I now start boosting this input gain, we will get a louder level, even though the real level is not really gonna exceed that much. This, of course, the soften up is what kind of clipping we're gonna get. At 0%, it's the hard clipping, at 100% it's soft clipping, and anywhere in between it's a blend. The quality knob is a oversampling. So what that does, it basically, when it's set to 16, which it is by default, it'll apply 16 times oversampling, and that means it is going to give you a little bit higher quality of a sound. It's going to give you a little bit more transparent sound. It sounds a little bit better, but the differences are really subtle. However, you need to be aware that when you have that oversampling turned on, like it is by default, it will create intersample peaks. And even though this plugin and everything is set up to not exceed 0 dB, because we're applying clipping and we have the oversampling turned on, we will get peaks that go above that 0 dB, and therefore they have this output knob, so you can then bring back the output gain to a lower level so that it's not showing those clip peaks. To demonstrate that, I'm going to bring this up, and because it's applying hard clipping, if I bring this up, let's say 5 dB, I should expect that we're gonna get the exact same level down here, which is currently minus 10 dB. So I've now boosted it by 5 dB, but we're adding hard clipping to it, so we shouldn't get any higher than minus 10 dB, right? Let's listen. So the drums became much more upfront, but look at that, we now have an additional dB of gain. Why is that? That's because of the oversampling. So if I set this to 0, we should actually get minus 10 dB right here. Exactly minus 10 dB. So we have the oversampling. We get about an additional dB, so I could bring this down to minus 1 dB. And we stay below that particular level. Now it also has a guard knob, and that guard knob is actually created to take care of those intersample peaks without having to bring down the output level. So I can bring this up to 0 dB, and now the guard is enabled and the ceiling is set to 0. So what that means is that all those intersample peaks that are going above 0 dB will still be chopped off, because this is just a hard clipper. So I can make a blend between this. Let's say I want to have a little bit of soft clipping into this. Maybe bring that down a little bit. That's before. That's after. It just sounds louder and it sounds better. The drums are really coming through this mixdown now. So let's take a look at what happens when we put this on a master track. So I have my master track right here. I have a utility which is bringing the master up with 4.4 dB. So if I go in here and look at the master, we're now peaking at roughly 0 dB. It's about minus 0.3 dB, so that's about 0 dB. I'm gonna turn off that one, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring that gain up here to 4.4. Now I'm going to do a blend between, I think, soft clipping and hard clipping, maybe somewhere around there. I'm gonna leave the quality up because I want to have that oversampling, and now I'm gonna listen to what happens. So we're still way below 0 dB, which is good, but we could actually bring this up higher. Now, to prevent anything from going over 0 dB, and which means that we're going to get clipping, I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to turn this down a little bit to minus 0.3 dB. So that means that we're never going to get any clipping. Now, when I'm going to bring this, I'm just going to bring this knob up and see how high we can bring this up without it getting too distorted, and then we're going to listen to what the difference is between no Kazrog KClip, and with, well, I'm just gonna show you what the difference is between this one with this clipper on it and without it. So let's just see how high we can bring this up. That sounds about right. So now we have minus 0.3 dB on the master track. Let's compare it. This is without any of the clipping, and I could bring this up to 4.6 dB. So we're now at minus 0.2 dB. And this is with the clipper, which is minus 0.3 dB. So there you have it. It sounds just much louder with the clipper plugin on it. I've done similar things with the glue compressor in the past, and I just found out that it just starts distorting much earlier when I start bringing things up, and I get louder results with the KClip plugin. So if you want to have that plugin, check it out. It's Kazrog.com. You can find a link in the description below this video. I'll put it up there. And if you like this video, then subscribe to this channel or come to my website. You can find all the social media links down at the bottom of the screen, and at the top you can find my website address. You can find sample packs and preset packs on my website. Definitely check them out if you want, and let me know in the comments what you like and what you don't like, of course. I want to know that as well. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you back soon.